Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karen Mayfield Felton, and I'm excited to be here to talk to you all about earning while you learn careers after high school. I want to thank publicly Erica and her team. They're amazing. They are clutch, they are professional, and Pathways to Excellence for always providing content and information, resources, and access to many men and women who can help take our young innovators and make them future scientists, lawyers, CEOs, entrepreneurs. She pretty much does it all, and her team is amazing again. I just want to thank you all for continually moving the needle forward. And thank you for inviting me to impart a little bit of information to our audience this afternoon. So, what can you expect from this session? I am specifically going to talk to students and to parents and whoever out there may be listening about opportunities after high school that may or may not include college. I am specifically talking about apprenticeships. I am going to leave you hopefully confident, knowing that you are capable of doing amazing things. I want you to also tap into your superpower. So, a part of this presentation is going to be helping you acquaint yourselves with the skills, some of those skills that you may not even resonate with or realize that you have. And I like to work in threes. Last but not least, I want to activate you. I don't just want to provide you with information, my opinions. At the end of this presentation, I want you to be activated to take action. I want you to take imperfect action. I want you to be able to Google, to talk to a mentor, to apply. I want you to be able to do all the things that's going to move you from where you are now to an apprenticeship, to a career of your choice that's going to allow you to earn, but also allow you to learn. And the third part is help others. So without further ado, let's just go and get started. Who am I? I am 100% humble and again, thankful for being here. Part of what makes me me is the people that created me. I'm the product of a coach and an educator who instilled in myself and my sisters the ability to do whatever it is that we were created here to do. And how did they do that? Number one, they both spent their careers teaching. They started out as teachers, so they were very familiar with students. They also started out poor, so they understood the need for resources, not just for themselves but for their community. They're baby boomers, so they grew up with segregation. They grew up having to scratch and fight for some of the most basic needs that we take for granted today. So that's who raised me. I'm a scrapper. I have grit. We're going to learn about that later. And so that's who I am, and I'm very proud of it. The coach in me, my father was a prolific basketball coach who was very successful, and he spent his life training young men how to use their athleticism and their brains to not just succeed on the court, but off the court as well. I bring a little part of that too. So you're listening to somebody that's going to root for you, give you tough love, and then go tell you to make that 3-point shot. All right. I'm also a wife and bonus mom to 3 kids. All 3 of my bonus kids are actually in the target audience that I'm talking to right now. I've got a 23-year-old that's in Europe, a 20-year-old that lives with me and my husband, and a 17-year-old that is about to graduate from high school. And she is anxious, she's super smart, and ready to take on the world. So I not only learn a lot about what I'm about to talk about, I live it, and I live it at my in my home real time every day. I'm a 20 plus year professional in the technical field. I do actually have 2 degrees. I went to college. I have a bachelor's in chemistry, a master's in chemical engineering. However, before I went on the road to college, I had an apprenticeship when I was in high school. I actually worked for NASA, got my first paycheck, and it was the perfect opportunity for me to get a taste of what it would be like to work in this field called engineering, science, and technology and math, STEM. I've worked in the public and private industry as a leader. So I started off as an individual contributor, working, contributing, coming up with ideas, all the way to managing an entire workforce of engineers, all the way to mentoring, recruiting, and hiring thousands upon thousands of students and early career professionals, some of whom did not have a degree at all. And so I have been in the market. I know what it's like now, and I have made it my business to spend time with students and their parents and teachers and early career professionals to help them navigate not just their career, but navigate themselves, to understand what it is that makes them sit up and have interest, and to tap in to the resources that they have right at their fingertips. Last but not least, I'm the founder and owner of Feet Planted LLC. I decided to take my gifting and my skills and 20 plus years of experience to create a company that provides access and connects students and early career professionals to men and women who are going to not just mentor them, who can help them understand this world, this wide world that we live in. But more importantly, I like providing tools and solutions. I like making people uncomfortable. That's one of the one things that myself as a mentor strives to do is I want to spend time with you, get to know you, and then understand what your gifting is, what your skills are. I also, on the flip side, work with other institutions, colleges, teachers, public schools to help them better identify your gifting when they're with you. So that is who I am. That is why I am here. And I count it an honor to be able to do the work that I do because I know it's going to make our future that much brighter. All right, let's get on with it. Alternatives. Why are there alternatives after high school if you decide not to go to college? Some of you are actually working now, which again, I tip my hat off to you. When I was in high school, I was just trying to make it from day to day. But some of you are actually doing the work now. This slide is meant to share with you the benefits and what those alternatives mean. So this is a long, nice, hefty list, and I'm going to walk through most of them and just help you understand that if you decide not to go to college, you still have opportunities. One, they're diverse. If you've ever heard the term try before you buy, there are so many jobs that you can do. You could be a barista at Starbucks. You can work in a high school as a substitute teacher. You can mentor. You can start your own business. You can work for someone else. You can have multiple jobs helping people with their own companies. I mean, you get the point. The list is endless. And that diversity is going to draw and pull and stretch so many facets of you that you're going to be skilled and trained to do a variety of things, not just that one thing that's going to earn you money and get you a job. Financial benefits. Apprenticeships are usually paid. You actually get the opportunity to earn money and learn a skill and a craft at the same time. Hands-on experience. Now, I love this one. You've heard me say try before you buy. When you become an apprentice, the root word, and we're going to get to that definition of an apprentice, is someone who is sitting up under someone who is more knowledgeable. So you're going to get hands on experience from a trade or working for an industry, working for a company that you can then learn, impart your own skills to, and then see how far you can go into your career, into that field, or supporting that mission for that company. Skill development. That goes without saying. Apprenticeships allow you to develop and hone in on skills that you may not have even had to use in high school. Number one, you are going to be in an environment with other humans. You're going to learn how to work on teams, work with a diverse set of people who have different priorities, different values. You're going to learn how to hone in on a craft. And we're going to get into the different types of fields that you can do that. And you're going to do all of that in an environment that is trying to grow you. They're going to actually give you opportunities to stretch the skills that you have and then give you some new skills and allow you to try them out. Networking. This picture of these four individuals here, I don't know who they are, but you get to meet other people, not just on your level, but above you in different organizations. You get to share and talk to people that you may not have been exposed to if you were at a college. And when you work for a different company, there's all types of folks from at different levels that you will interface with, from an administrative staff to the CEO to the purchaser. I mean, the gaggle of people that you are going to come into contact with. And each person that you come into contact with is going to impart something on you, and you're going to glean something from them. And it's just an amazing opportunity to also develop alliances, collaborate, and even friendships can come out of these opportunities. Personal growth, we talked about that. If you are a person who, for example, is shy, or you are more introverted and you like working alone, having an apprenticeship will give you the opportunity to do both, to work on projects by yourself, but learn how to also work with other people. So there are growth opportunities that you can capitalize on, not just with information, but your character, your personality, and opportunities to grow in responsibility. So maybe you were not used to managing your money or being responsible and accountable for your time. Working in an apprenticeship is going to allow you to work on those skills. Flexibility. You can work and go to school. You can work and make money and have a trade. You can use that money to provide for your family if that's the situation that you're in, or you can use that money and time to figure out what it is that you want to do. And so you still may end up matriculating to an institution of higher learning, but if you do and you decide to work first, you will have Uh, a very different outlook. You'll have an appreciation for the work. Number one, you'll know exactly what you want to do because you spent time working in different environments, honing in on those skills that are going to give you discipline. It allows just for an immense amount of flexibility. Faster entry into the workforce. How many of you know that in high school, your resume is probably not as detailed or as full as most people that have been working? I mean, I think we can all agree with that, unless you of course worked while you were in high school. So imagine you are getting an apprenticeship or you're working for someone and you have real world experience. By the time you develop these different set of skills, you network and you work in these different environments, you will be able to say, I have done this. I've managed, I've led, I've collaborated, I've presented. Pick any verb that you may think applies. You'll be able to put that on your resume as experience. All right. An encouragement of diversity. Hey, we're all different. You, this picture, I chose it on purpose because it shows that there are many of us, and we have our own unique talents. One of the skills that I want my generation Ys and X's and Z's and my millennials to learn is how to appreciate one another. You actually do it quite well. We can all learn something from you. But one of the things that you learn in being in proximity to people that are different from you when you have a singular mission is you learn how to manage personalities, you learn how to appreciate people, problem solve, develop critical thinking, collaborate. It is interesting to see a group of people working on a project together, working together and solving a problem. It is amazing to watch how all of a sudden these different and variable points of view come together for a singular purpose and a singular mission. And the last thing is to apply that skill to real world application. You get to solve real problems. So if it's in tech, and again, we're going to get to some of these fields later, but no matter what it is actually right now a lot of what you learn in a classroom are theories, principles, depending on what field or discipline you decide to major in. You're going to learn from textbooks. You're going to learn from people who are telling you what they have done that is tried and true. One of the things I love about this opportunity as an apprentice or working before you decide to go to school is it's real world. It's relevant. It's right now, and you get to have a front row seat in the decision making, the sweat equity to solve problems and come up with solutions real time. And it is applicable to who you are and where you are right now in the moment. You don't have to wait for the assignment or to read it in a book. You're living it. So there are, again, a lot of pros to this course of action. And let me tell you right now, I'm not downing anyone that chooses to go to college first. What I am saying is that there are definite and clear benefits to these alternatives. I'm going to blip back over and see if there are any questions in the chat. I don't see any. So we are going to press on. All right. So we talked about the benefits, and I hope I've provided you with a clear definition of what an apprenticeship is. So if I haven't, this slide is just for you. Learn hands-on skills on the job. And one of the things that I didn't mention about an apprenticeship is that there are some programs, whether you're a registered apprentice or whether you accept a position with a company or an organization that has actual training and certification that you need to complete in order to move from one level of expertise to the next. That training is amazing under the supervision of an experienced tradesperson to gain that expertise in a particular vocation. Basically, we're not just allowing you to go tinker and to go figure it out on your own. You're sitting up under someone who is skilled, who has been where you've been, and they are imparting their knowledge, their experience and expertise for the particular vocation that you're choosing. We've already talked about training. But the 2 points that I want to add on as part of the key components are the earnings, the money. You can earn a very good living, and we're actually going to look at some data later on, depending on the field that you choose. There is basically what we call pain points. So when we start talking about what type of apprenticeship you should be looking for, it definitely needs to be an area that's interesting to you. What we're interested in and what we like, we typically stick with, and we're committed to it. However, there's a cost associated with these different fields and these different disciplines. Right now, if you were to go on some of the apps like Fiverr, or if you were to go on social media, you'll see a lot of folks giving instructions on AI, social media. That's the thing. They're companies. I heard this actually this morning on Pathways to Excellence. One of the presenters talked about needing that expertise. There are companies that need that expertise that you have. And so to hone it and to be good at it, you could actually earn a significant amount of money by giving your time and your talents to get paid for a particular vocation. And the duration is also flexible too. You don't have to wait years. 4 years or 2 years to start making money. There are apprenticeship programs that are 6 months, 3 months. It varies again on the vocation that allow you to take the training, learn the skill, and in a shorter amount of time be an expert, or at least be on your way to becoming an expert, and you still get to earn while you're learning. We already talked about the benefits. I want to lean in though on industry connections because that sounds real broad. Let me just break it down to you. In every industry, there is a front runner. There's either a large company or there's a subject matter expert in that field that is connecting, collaborating, and getting all of the smart and skilled folks together in order to solve cutting edge problems. The connections that you get when you are an apprentice, I think, are amazing and they are limitless. It's also based on your tenacity, your desire to learn, your ability to be humble enough to sit up under somebody while they teach you, but the aperture. the aperture is just wide open for you to make those connections to other business leaders, other civic leaders who need the skills that you have, or who have gathered folks in your vocation together and say, hey, we are pipe fitters or we're nurses and we are really in demand. And so we're going to tap into these skills. You should seek us out. There's a lot to be said for being in a group of people that are recognized for their skill, agility, and ability by a specific industry. And making those connections are going to take you a lot farther than potentially a degree would, because you've actually got that experience. So, again, I have beaten the drum on benefits. So, I hope that you have that landscape. And let's go on to the next topic. I've talked about different fields, and trust me, don't come for me. This is not an exhaustive list. I did my research, and the title is In Demand Fields and Occupations. There are there's such a demand for skilled trades. And I listed a few underneath skilled trades: boilermakers, carpenters, electricians, iron workers, plumbers, sheet metal workers. When we think about the opportunity to have an apprenticeship and you think, well, I don't really want to leave school to be a plumber or to be an iron worker or to be an electrician. Let me just pause here and let you know that I had a friend, house flooded. And of course, who did she need to call? She needed to call three people. She needed to call one, her insurance company. She needed to call a plumber. And where there's water and electrics, that's not a good mix. And she needed to call an electrician. The amount of money that she needed to spend in order to get her home back in living condition was amazing. Um, don't turn your nose down at any of these positions. I'm not suggesting that you are. I've talked to enough students and talked to parents, and these positions to some people aren't sexy. They're not the business, the white collar jobs, as some people like to call them. But let me tell you something: having a skill to be able to use your hands mechanically, having steam fitting skills. I know how to solder. It was part of my engineering education. It's not easy. Ships, those same ships that go out to sea, I work for the Navy, have plumbers and pipe fitters and steam fitters employed because they are the people, the skilled tradesmen and women who are building and designing the vessels that can withstand thousands of tons of pressure that go to sea, that go to other countries defending our nation. So, if you are not familiar with any of these occupations, I highly encourage you to let your fingers do the walking and Google and think beyond what you see in commercials and what your friends may see on social media. Think about the skill that you can acquire and how you may even move from a skilled trades woman or man and go into entrepreneurship to start your own business. Later on in the presentation, we're going to take a look at some real life stories of people who did exactly that. Finishing up with the list, healthcare. I won't get into the healthcare in our nation right now, but I guarantee you that we need nurses. We need registered nurses. We need phlebotomists. Those are the folks that draw the blood. We need a lot of people in the healthcare industry. If you've been through COVID and you saw how those men and women rallied and came together to care for us during such a hard time, even to their own detriment. It takes a special skill, a special person to want to care for others. And if you've ever been sick or been in a hospital and you've seen somebody's bedside manner and you've seen, how rigorous that skill and that job is, the demand. We need men and women who care about other people enough to want to get those skills and to want to take care of us when we need it. We need it all, y'all. We need it all. We need everybody. IT, cybersecurity goes without saying. We've already talked about social media. We've talked about AI. We've talked about programming. If you are someone who is interested in computers. You can have a cybersecurity certificate. You don't need a degree. There are a lot of programs. I'm going to drop a name here. Cyber Green Group. He's a friend of mine, Mr. Vernon Green, has a company, $1 million company, where he employs young men and women who can get certifications right out of high school and start to be programmers and start to work in great jobs and earn and learn at the same time. And last but not least, green energy. You see my sister up here with these windmills behind her. That's an ode to green energy. Our environment. We need people who are skilled and interested in protecting our environment, whether it's data collection, whether it's data entry, whether it's taking measurements. The fields and the opportunities are endless. One area that I did not include in large text, but it's as small as a musical instrument repair. That was one that I was actually surprised to see as an in demand job. Musical inclination, whether you are a producer or whether you are musically inclined and you play an instrument, those are in demand fields right now. And I know because I've got a baby piano that I've had for 20 years because I played the piano as a youth that is significantly out of tune. And I would love to have someone come to my house and tune it up so that my son can play without listening to all of the wrong notes on a 20-year-old piano. It is a high demand job. I have searched over and over, and in the area that I lived, and I live in the DMV, I counted 3 businesses that do music repair. Can you imagine what that skill would be like to be able to go to classroom, to people's homes, to tune up their instruments, to get their musical instruments back to restoration so that they can be played and listened to and enjoyed? All I'm trying to let you know is that this list is not exhaustive, but the opportunities for you are endless. They are really endless. And so take a look, take a screenshot. Don't believe me, look it up yourself and think about what resonates with you and what is something of interest. All right. So here's the slide that I was referring to that talks about the money. Now, this is from FY23. Yes, I know we're in 25. However, I wanted to give you just an idea of the 10 most popular occupations. One, so that you know that I bring the receipts, I'm not just making it up. The Government Accountability Office looked up the top 10 most popular occupations for registered apprentices. And we're going to get into registered apprentices and what that means and what that affords you. And the median wage is $48,000. Now, because this is 2 years old, or at least a year and a half, we have to factor in inflation. And so if you want to add an extra 3% to these numbers, maybe even five, you can do that. I'm going to let you do the math. But look at what's number one: electricians. $61,000 median earnings. And that depends on where you live. That changes maybe depending on the region or the state where well, this skill is higher in demand. So don't just take it at face value. Plumbers, pipe fitters, steam fitters. Again, I told you all those are hot fields. Computer occupations, all different types of computer occupations, cyber, programming, AI, social media, data collection, data resourcing, data analysis. It covers all of those types of fields. And you can see that's the one that earns the most money: 104, almost $105,000 as a median salary. Construction laborers. How many of you have passed in your neighborhood and seen buildings go up? I work and live near DC, and every day that I go to work, I see many construction companies, many. I see folks working on roads. I see them fixing up buildings. Construction laborers is a really lucrative opportunity for you to use a variety of skills. Electrical power line installers and repairers, that's the number two highest paid. Again, I think it's a really cool job. Next time you walking around and you see someone up a pole, or when the electricity, falls, or during a storm or something happens, you're calling Dominion Power or whoever you have. These are the men and women that come out and restore our power. They know what they're doing, and they're skilled. And I think it is a very honorable job. I've needed them many more times than I'd like to admit. And then the list goes on and on: heavy tractor trailer, sheet metal workers, HVAC, heating, air and conditioning, refrigeration mechanics and installers, also decent earners at 57,000. And then last but not least, nursing assistants. One note I want to add for the nursing assistants: the example I alluded to earlier in this webinar was about men and women actually working at a hospital. There are many occupations for home health nurses as well. So you don't necessarily have to clock in at a hospital. You can actually earn a living doing home health visits. You can earn a living taking care of elderly or folks that have illnesses that won't allow them to physically go to hospitals. Ask me why I know all this information, because I'm a grown woman, and I have lived, and I have actually have had family members that require nursing assistants that are unable to go to a hospital, and these men and women are paid handsomely. So again, if any of these fields are of interest to you, consider them. And there are more. These are just the top 10. All right. So I told you that we were going to get personal. Um, I mentioned at the top that I had an apprenticeship, but I want to actually introduce you to two people that you may have never heard of. The first is Adrienne Bennett. She is a baddie, the first African American woman in the United States to become a master plumber. She entered a 5-year plumbing apprenticeship program in 1976. And if you look at this black and white picture and see her sitting in the front of the class and look at everybody else in the class, she's the first African American woman to do this. Despite facing significant hostility, harassment from male colleagues, she persevered and became a pioneer for women and minorities in skilled trades. I need you to Google her. Not only was she able to become a master plumber, she is now the owner of Pack Plumbing. She is the CEO of her own company. She has been asked to consult on architectural projects, a lot of things in her community. She is a phenomenal trailblazer. So if you think that because you don't go to college or that you don't have a 2 or 4 year degree, that you are not able to do something that is trailblazing, that is going to impact communities. I can only imagine the young men and women who looked at her and thought that they were unable to do anything without a college degree, and how proud of her I am to see what she's been able to accomplish. So she's gone from a master plumber to being the CEO of her own company. Amazing. All right. And next, for those of you in Maryland, I wanted to pay you some love. Um, Former state senator, Mr. Corey McCray, credits an electrical apprenticeship for transforming his life. So much so that he wrote a book about it, The Apprenticeship That Saved My Life, to inspire others. And he advocates for the power to earn while you learn. I literally had this topic before I put his face and his picture on here, and he works with underserved communities and a lot of programming. This is his passion. He talks significantly about the challenges of growing up in Baltimore and pulling himself up out of his environment, but he used electrical apprenticeship in order to do it. And this man went on to be state senator for Maryland. Why am I showing you these men and women? Is because there's often a stigma or a an attitude about men and women who may not have a college degree. And what I want you to know, if you don't hear anything else, if you don't remember anything else about this talk, a degree does not make you who you are. Your skill, your gifting, and the unique talent that you are given is what makes you who you are. Your ability to change the atmosphere, your ability to impact technology, your ability to meet a need, to solve problems, degree or not. And these two amazing examples are men and women who decided and made a decision that they were going to become skilled, that they were going to do something that changed their environment. And then what did they do? They gave back and they became leaders, not only for our communities, for our state and CEOs. And that's what I see for you. I don't ever want you to be discouraged, or if someone says, well, I don't know what you're going to do since you don't have a college degree. You tell them that Karen Mayfield Felton said, I can become an apprenticeship and I can work and I can be a skilled tradesman, or I can work in a variety of fields that I can not just earn money, I can learn, I can skill up, and then I can share those skills with other people. You tell them I said it. All right. So please, I actually have this book. I need you to, if you want, go to Amazon, look it up. It's a wonderful book to read, very inspiring. And please also look up Miss Adrienne Bennett. She's done tremendous things in her community since she was a trailblazer in 1976. Okay, so now we're getting to the good stuff. I would be remiss if I came here, talked to you about apprenticeships, the benefits, and I didn't give you any resources. That would not be cool. So one of the things, if you've ever been to an event that Miss Erica hosts, Pathways to Excellence, or the Youth Summit, she talks about LinkedIn a lot. Most of her guests, myself included, are on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great resource for apprenticeships, internships, opportunities for jobs. I mean, I remember when I was unemployed, I've been unemployed a couple of times in my life, and I needed some work. I taught myself how to do graphic design. I went on YouTube and I figured it out. I started my own graphic design business, and I posted something on LinkedIn years ago, and I said, does anybody need flyers and don't want to pay astronomical costs? I had I think 4 jobs within that week of people who saw my post and were willing to give me a shot. I don't have a graphic design degree, self-taught. And LinkedIn was a mechanism by which I could reach out to a variety of people in order to share my skills. But it's not just sharing the skills, it's making those connections. So if you do not have a LinkedIn page and you would like to have one, I highly encourage you to get started. You can either reach out to me, my contact information will be at the end of this slide, or definitely reach out to Erica. I am 100% sure she's had a program and a speaker or two that has talked about LinkedIn and the impact it can make. The next on the list is Apprenticeship USA. It's an orange because we're actually going to go visit that website. I've got a screenshot that I want to show you. It is where you need to go as soon as you finish listening to me, or if you're in front of a computer, you can go there right now. It is a excellent repository for career seekers, for people who are looking to hire, to programs for registered apprenticeship programs worldwide. You can look up your area, put in the zip code, you can even put in the field, and it will present to you opportunities that are available. We're going to cover that a little more closer in a minute. The next 3 links are the Virginia Commonwealth University Facilities, VCU Facilities Management Apprenticeship Program for electricians, HVAC, and for plumbers. The link is here. I didn't memorize it, but hopefully you'll have the slides. You'll be able to click on that and you'll be able to go directly to their program. VCU happens to be in Richmond, and all of their students are taught by tradesmen who've been in the business for 20 plus years. Most of them have their own businesses and have contracts with a lot of different industries. So it's another program in Virginia that you can seek out if you're interested. And the last 2 are registered apprenticeship programs. One, because I live in Virginia, Virginia Department of Education. If you go to that page, you will see the apprenticeship programs and the opportunities there. And then you all have an amazing, if you live in Maryland, Maryland Apprenticeship and Training Program, MATP. It's a division of workforce labor and development and adult learning. And let me tell you, I went to that website and I was just like, my goodness gracious, the amount of opportunities, the workshops, and I want to say Miss Erica partners with them, or at least is familiar with them and has had a representative on her on one of her webinars, but they have a tremendous amount of opportunities. And it's not just about getting the job, you need to be skilled. Adult learning is a thing. We should always be life learners, aspiring to go beyond our skill set. And these resources are going to help you get there. So look at the slide later. Hopefully it'll be posted and you can click on these links and you can be on your way to gathering information. So let's take a deep dive into Apprenticeship USA. Before we do, I'm going to come over here, see if there are any questions in the chat. All right, I don't see any, so we're going to press on. This is a screenshot, so this is not a live view, but I wanted to show you the URL. It's at the bottom, www.apprenticeship.gov. When you go to this website, the first thing you're going to see are how to find jobs. Visit the Apprenticeship Finder to discover apprenticeships that fit your skill set. So when the song, I can't remember the rap song that says, "The world is yours." Young men and women, parents, guardians, everybody. The world is literally at your fingertips. One of the reasons that I think that we don't pursue them is that we either lack the confidence, we need that extra push. I am here to let you know that if you go to this website, I think that there is an opportunity just waiting for you in a variety of different areas. So at the top, you'll see career seekers. I love that they didn't just say job, they said career, because a career is something that you do long term. A job is something that you punch in and out and you just kind of check the box. If you want a career where you can contribute, where you enjoy, where you're using your gifting, we're going to talk about superpowers later on, but where you are using your innate gifts, you can have a successful career. And then they've also got a drop down for employers that are looking for people just like you, educators that are interested in skilling up and or need someone to come to their institution to share their knowledge. And then of course they've got resources and they've got RA Academy. Please check out this website. So my next slide, I wanted to hone down just a little bit more on resources. So everything that is in an orange box is what I want you to pay attention to. To our left, under information, registered apprenticeship program. I need you, when you go to that website, to click on that link and look at the registered apprenticeship programs that may be in your area. They offer a different set of benefits. It's just not a job. It is actually a program that's going to take you from entry all the way into you meeting the requirements, getting the training, getting graduating, if you want to call it that, from the program and establishing you within a company and or organization. It's really, really, really awesome. And to our far right, apprenticeship tools, the job finder. I went to it. It's a site where you just type in the position, you type in your area where you live, and it will spit out the opportunities that happen to be near you. And then occupation finder. The occupation finder is once you are ready to use your skills, this is time to find that opportunity with a company or with an organization that needs the skills that you have. You can select those. Now, just because I have boxes around these three does not mean that you can't peruse all the other links that are here. Please spend quality time on this site and get the information that you need. All right, we're bringing it home. So this is the last screenshot. I wanted to share with you a site that I have used for the last 15 to 16 years, and it is called ONET. O, capital O dash net. If you go into Google, type that in your URL, you're going to get to a website that is going to have, oh my goodness, an exhaustive list of occupations, positions, and skills across the United States. What I love about the apprenticeship site that you're looking at now is that you can view a list of ONET codes, and I put the URL here. Excuse me. These codes that are in red at the bottom are attached to occupations. So you can do this a couple of different ways because we all think differently. And I'll be honest, going to a bunch of websites can be overwhelming, but I'm going to give you my method from an ADD brain to help you singularly focus. Are you ready? Okay. When you go to apprenticeship .gov and you go to this particular site and you want to browse by industry, look for an industry that you are interested in. And as you can see, accommodation and food services was the one that was here, and you just search for that. If you want to view or see the occupations that have been most viewed. You can see them displayed at the bottom. But I love is that you can download the occupations that may be of interest, and it doesn't have to be just one. It could be plumbing, it could be technician, it could be music. You may have exemplary organization skills and you are an administrative guru. Trust me, we need all of that talent too. Whatever floats your boat, whatever resonates with you, type it in and see what spits back out. That is using this website. Now, if you want to start with ONET first and go to the website, you can also look up an occupation. It will give you the skills, the KSAs or the KPIs, as we call them, of all of the things that you will need for this position. It will give you the salary. You can look it up by state. It will give you the mean salary. It will give you pretty much everything that you need to know on how to look at the skills that you possess, even coming after high school, the skills that you need in order to be successful in these roles that are right at your fingertips. All right, I make it sound so easy, but there's clearly work that you have to do, and I'm here as your cheerleader to get you closer to doing the work. So take away some of that screen time. Tell your friends that want to go out and hang out that you need 30 minutes to an hour to spend dedicated time on ONET or on apprenticeship.gov because you've got some research to do. All right. Moving right along, we're getting closer to the end, folks. So, I have talked about, just to do a recap, I've talked about what an apprenticeship is. I've given you the benefits of apprenticeships, in particular, any type of job opportunity or training that does not require a college degree. We've talked about networking. We've talked about the different types of fields that you can go into. So now we're going to actually talk about strategies. One of the things that I think we all need are goals. We don't have to have goals. We can launch out and just take a dive into that deep water of the internet and just see what comes up. You can do that. I think that setting SMART goals, which is why I have it on the slide, is a better process for us and for you. So, SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. If you're in high school and you're a senior and you're graduating next May, you've got some time. You've got about 6 months to be able to set some goals for yourself. What is it that I'm interested in? What is it that I'm good at? How much money would I like to make? Where would I like to work? Do I want to stay where I'm living now? Or, are there other opportunities in another area? You can set goals that say, I'm going to spend 5 hours this week coming to go on apprenticeship.gov, and I'm going to look up 3 positions that I'm interested in that are relevant, that are in demand, and I'm going to submit an application within 2 months of graduation. I just read to you a goal that was specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That's as simple as it gets. And whatever goals that you have for yourself, you can adapt what I just said and do that very thing. We've talked about research. I use the word Google a lot, but research is also reading a book. There are many books, one that I mentioned to you from Corey McRae, that you can buy. You don't always have to use the internet. You can read a book and actually learn from other people and learn about the different fields. You also have ChatGPT, you've got AI, you've got social media also. Whatever research that you do, spend time not just collecting data, but also give yourself time to review what you've collected. And then the next section is mentorship. This is where once you set a goal or you've done your research, share it with someone who's lived a little longer than you and can perhaps give you their input, the benefit of their experience. They can actually even provide different tips on how to rewrite your goal or send you to other resources. Mentorship is not necessarily something that you have to have, but it's a good strategy to be able to bounce your ideas off of someone. Okay. And time management. I was joking earlier about spending a lot of time on social media or hanging out with your friends. All of those are great things. I do them both. However, I wouldn't be able to work a full-time job, be a mom, a daughter, and manage Feet Planted LLC if I didn't have some type of time management. Anything worth having is worth spending the time doing it. So there's time blocking, there's setting an alarm, whatever you need to do in order to move the needle from where you are to where you want to be requires some time. So set aside some time just for yourself and do some of the things that are going to get you closer. And last but not least, one of my favorite words is grit. You got to be able to stay focused, keep going, and know that you got this. One of the things that I said to myself at the top is that I want everyone who watches this to know that they're capable and have confidence. You also need some grit. There are going to be some haters. There are going to be people that tell you you can't do it. Heck, you're probably going to tell yourself all of the things that are going to stand in the way of you having an opportunity. Let me tell you, you got to believe in yourself. It's more than just confidence. It is understanding that you have been given God given talents and strengths that someone needs that's going to solve a problem. And setting goals, doing the research, setting aside time, and finding someone to help you is, they're all great things. But if you don't believe in you, when you don't have that grit, when things get really hard, it's going to get tough. So that is a part of the strategy. Basically, believing in yourself and knowing that you can accomplish all sorts of things. So, folks, I'm going to close out here with I said I was going to help you tap into your superpower. So, you've heard me talk about all the things about apprenticeships, but here's something I want you to, three questions that I want you to answer. This is free. I want you to, number one, write down the things that you are most frequently at things that you are most frequently asked by your friends, your parents, or teachers. Is there something that you always get asked to do? Are you that person that is so organized that you keep the to-do list or you keep the list of things going on vacation? Are you that person that knows how to work the algorithm on YouTube, social media, all of the things easy? You can create a video just like that. Are you a Canva guru? Are you the type of person that people go to when they're in a crisis because they know you're calm, cool, and collected? What do people seek you out for? I need you to make that list. Number two, after you make that list, what of those things do you enjoy doing? You're probably going to be surprised at what people tell you that they seek you out for. Of that list, which one of those things do you enjoy doing? You probably do it and don't even notice that you do it, right? And so look at that list and think about what it is that you actually enjoy doing, or what of that list actually challenges you and you want to get better at it. And last but not least, what you're going to have are skills, characteristics, and behaviors. Of the list that I provided, look and see what types of opportunities need those skills. This is where ONET comes into play. Organized, computer savvy, conscientious, humble, able to handle pressure. When you go to ONET and start looking up careers, you're going to see some of those skills, and that's going to get you closer to understanding what your superpower is, because you've got more than one, I guarantee it, and being able to capitalize on that, being able to use that to propel yourself forward. It's innately you, it's who you are, and you get the benefit of that. You get to share that gifting with everyone else, and you get to earn money while you're doing it. So I think this is my last slide. I'm going to pop back over to see if there are any questions. If there aren't, and you want to reach out to me later, this is exactly how you do that. My email address is Karen.Felton. Karen is spelled unique. Blame my parents. I love it though. KARRIN.FELTON at feetplantedllc.com. You can also visit my website at www.feetplantedllc.com. I am also on LinkedIn. Just do a search for Karen Mayfield Felton, and I will be there ready to make sure that you're devoted to your success and professional growth, and that you are suited, booted, and ready to go for enduring discovery. It has been my pleasure to present to you at this webinar today, and I wish you the absolute best in your journey, wherever it takes you. Thank you so much for joining. All right. I don't think there are any questions. All right, folks. Have a wonderful day.